It seems like we've been asking how far away Cyberpunk 2077 is for 7 years now. Despite the game's release, some of us are still asking how far away we are from Cyberpunk being playable. Okay, that was a little harsh, but I'm not here to talk about what CD Projekt Red did wrong. I'm here to talk about the underlying theme of Cyberpunk 2077, which is that we're getting a glimpse into our future by playing the game. But is that actually true? The answer to that question may surprise you. There's no denying that the future is looking more and more high-tech, but simply put, it shouldn't be nearly as bleak as it is in Cyberpunk 2077. In the game, everyone is fairly robotic, but they have wires in their wrists that they could pull out and jack into computers to steal information. They have cybernetic enhancements that can improve their senses. Heck, they even have robotic parts replacing their human ones to give them superhuman abilities, such as enhanced strength and speed. While we're not there yet, robotics expert Chris Middleton believes that all of this could be part of our world by 2070. Yeah, I don't think it's happening because it opens up a whole slew of problems. If you have a bunch of people with superhuman abilities, who's to say they're going to use those powers for good? It's going to mean we'll eventually live in a world like the Marvel or DC universe with superheroes and supervillains. It all just seems really unrealistic if you ask me. It's cool, but unlikely. That being said, we're still taking some steps towards having at least some of what's in Cyberpunk 2077. Just think about microchips. Everyone has one in the game, but not in real life, right? Well, some humans are actually getting microchipped, and it's somewhat popular in Sweden. A few thousand Swedes have microchips inside their hands, but they're not used to hack into things. They're just used to make daily routines easier, like locking and unlocking the door. If there comes a day where microchips are mass implanted in humans, they would mainly be used to store information, like a person's name, address, contact details, basic medical information, and anything else they choose to put on there. There wouldn't be a location tracker in these microchips for the government to stalk you or people with scanners who could know everything about you with a quick scan. It would be done right. As for the Ripper docs you find around Night City who could give clients all types of cybernetic enhancements for a price, we probably won't see any of them in the future. There may very well be a black market giving people cybernetic enhancements around 2070, but it would be highly illegal. Nowadays, robotic arms and legs are given to people so they could live a normal life. I'm talking about amputees, those with muscle weakness, and more. They're not giving able-bodied people robotic parts because they don't need them. The US military has talked about giving their soldiers exoskeletons to turn them into super soldiers. But it hasn't happened yet. Humans are still very far away from being half machine, half human like in Cyberpunk 2077, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. We already have many huge metropolises like Night City today, so there's no reason to believe we'll only have one big city 50 years from now. In Cyberpunk 2077, Night City is the last great metropolis. But if anything, we should have more metropolises than we do now by 2077 as the worldwide population continues to grow. If you think about it, anytime you have a city with millions of people living close to each other, it will have a shady side made up of gangs and violence, but it won't be as exaggerated as it is in Cyberpunk 2077. You should still be able to do everything you do today and not see a shootout on every corner 50 years from now. Of course, corporations will always have power up to a point, but there won't be one company with control over an entire city like in Cyberpunk. Night City is where Cyberpunk gets real science fiction-y, if that's even a word. As for the vehicles of Cyberpunk 2077, that's where the game is surprisingly realistic. We're currently trending towards all-electric vehicles, as we're expected to run out of oil in the coming decades. Just like in Cyberpunk, don't expect the roads to be forgotten in favor of flying vehicles. We most likely won't be living like the Jetsons, even 50 years from now. Cars will still use roads, and some will even still use fuel, but it'll be much safer for the environment. In Cyberpunk 2077, cars run on CHOOH2. It burns cleaner than gasoline or diesel, but it's not completely clean. We're expected to grandfather in only electric cars within the next few decades, so it's completely possible that most of the cars on the road will be clean for the environment come 2077. We honestly have no choice but to adapt. We're even close to getting commercial self-driving cars, like the Delamain service in Cyberpunk 2077. Perfect for those who hate driving and want a companion. As of right now, we are in no way heading towards a world like Cyberpunk 2077, or at least not towards a world with all of those problems. Cyberpunk is a science fiction genre that focuses on the juxtaposition of low life and high tech. It's just fiction. Sure, the game acts as a warning of our future, but unless the social order gets dramatically shifted in the next 57 years, we most likely won't be able to actively carry firearms and see violence around every corner. Low-life society won't run rampant while the rest of the world gets super high-tech and futuristic. They're just not correlated. There's a lot to talk about immorality in the game and how the relic you get your hands on in the prologue is supposed to grant you immortality. But I don't think we'll ever achieve immortality, or at least not in the traditional sense. We have organ transplants to replace almost every organ in our body, but nothing can replace our brain. If there was a way to digitize our brain and transfer it to another body, that would do the trick. But until that happens, we won't be immortal anytime soon. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, as cool as the future looks, it's also incredibly scary. I wouldn't mind some of the pros in Cyberpunk 2077, like having superhuman abilities, but there are just too many cons in the world for me to actually want our future to look like that. Do you think our future looks like Cyberpunk 2077? Let me know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for more gaming videos. Thanks for watching!